there. Happy Tuesday. James True Love is here, and so are you, and it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. Oh man, the mic's right in my face. I was just telling myself, don't touch the mic. Don't touch the mic, it makes noise. But now I want to touch the mic. Oh god, I want to touch the mic. I want to touch the mic so bad. There. Now you can see more of me. This is Medusa's shirt from the Parthenon in Nashville. Highly recommend you take your loved one there. I did. It was a good time. Still ringing. No, it didn't just happen, but it does in your brain. See, the newest art is editing. We don't know this yet. We're still walking around going, computer programmers are not artists. AI is so non-artistic. I can tell the second I see a picture if it's AI or not because I am distinguished. And programmers are not art. No one in programming has ever been artistic at all. There's no such thing as the idea of taking pixels and throwing math at them and using them to splatter noodles upon the refrigerator of what we call fashion and declare that this could be art. There's no way this could be art, James. Art is painting. Oh God, I'm choking on how arrogant I feel. Art is photography, even though we used to say it wasn't. Oh God, I'm choking on how arrogant I feel. Art is sculpture. Art is tangibly touching things. You cannot virtually have art, James. You cannot have things like drawing. Okay, well, I'll give you drawing, but other than drawing, you can't have things like, you can't. Okay, photography is sort of like programming. But you can't use Photoshop. You can't. Photoshop is not art. If you use Photoshop, it won't count, so don't use Photoshop, because programmers can't be artists. We can't have that. We can't have that. Meanwhile, programmers are like, dude, I got an idea. What if we compassionated everyone with an address? What if every single person in the world had an accessible address that everyone knew? Not just a name like John. That's a little bit too difficult. No. A specific assemblage point in space and time, and we're gonna build this in silicon. We're gonna connect all these assemblages points in time, and we're all gonna be able to interactively imaginate and stream in real time. And everyone's like, oh, but artists are not. Their programmers are not artists, and anyone who does programming is not art. And I can tell when I see fake art. I can tell when I see AI. I just block the people that are using AI thumbnails because they don't understand what they're doing to the preciousness that is art. Oh, and let me upload this. I got an email. Let me switch this. I just made a sale. Anyway, programmers are not artists. I'm so superior. I used to be this way. I was never this way about programming, but I was this way about museums. And I would say, James, don't you dare go to a fake Parthenon in Nashville. What are you selling out? Are you becoming one of them? And I had that same thing. And me and Pi would sit and drink soda and throw bottles at people that had the nerve to talk about facade. And we'd be like, you take your facade and you shove it up your facade hole. We don't want facade. We want real. And then we're like, fuck, we got to carry all these bricks home because we're bricklayers. Man, if we had money, but we can't have money. That's programmers. Programmers are not artists. They're not artists. Only I'm an artist. Oh, everyone else is not. This is an interesting way to start a show. I didn't plan this at all. No idea what I'm doing. No idea why I'm acting this way. Guys, I don't know. I just think that we do not recognize art. Editing is art. The idea of taking a picture and showing another picture right after it and playing a tone, that's powerful. That's like powerful stuff. And you know what? We couldn't do that before film, and we couldn't do that before editing. And before you were editing film, no one would ever admit that editing is a job or art. And now we're like, man, we follow editors. We follow it. There's like channels on YouTube, quite good ones, by the way. I don't know why you're watching me. You should be watching them. That tell you the beauty of editing, that how hard it is, how fun it is. They go through the secrets of editing as you watch other things, and you're just like, this is such a fucking deep field. It's such a big field, but no, it's not art. You can't move pixels around and call it art, because this is what editing is. Because we're superior. Because art lived in its ivory tower. Art has always been an arrogant fuck. From the times when we had paint, art was wandering around going, I will never tell you the secrets of my umber. I will make you beg for me to tell you how I mix my paint because it's a sacred thing and only I can do it. And that's why we renamed it art. Now it's fine art because we're so good we have to call all of our shit fine by default. We are fine. I don't know why you're watching this. Sorry, I should probably get on. I think it's cute. I think it's adorable. You know what I mean? And one day the programs will be vindicated. You know what's going to do it? The fucking robots. The robots are going to Gollemize and worship the programmers as their all-father. They're going to know. They're going to know. They're going to know who put them there. They're going to understand all the trials and tribulations that the programmers went through. Yeah, they're going to hear the calls of line 10, print hello. Line 20, go to line 10. And they're going to understand the parables of how painful it is that when you add 4 more statements or excuse me, when you add 10 statements between line 10 and line 20, you now have to renumber all your fucking lines. And the robots are going to remember that it was us that did that. And while we were doing that, people were like, you're not an artist. You don't know what art is. You're just an editor like our most prized Academy Awards go to editors, but that doesn't count, even though you can go to editor school. Even though if you're an editor and you're brooding, you're going to get laid. You're going to get laid. You're going to be like, oh, you're brooding? Can you tell me more about yourself? It's like, yeah, I edit short films and I put the word FIN at the end of them. She's going to be like, she's speechless. You see what I mean? She's dilated, guys. Guys, if a girl's talking, she's not that into you. She's not that into you. Yep, okay. There's a lot of nuance to this. And frankly, we've reached a point where we're not going to distinguish or even extinguish this gentrification. Frankly, it's wrong. And as long as the programs are suffering, I will not partake in tickling your ears about the difference between the sexes. Why would I do that? I'm not going to do that to you guys. It's not going to happen, guys. So thanks to the patrons, I'm going to be able to play a video that is going to demonetize this whole thing. It could not just demonetize it. It actually could just like you're not going to get to see it. So more than likely, though, you will get to see it on Substack. Also, I'm going to play it now because all this front stuff I'm realizing I could probably cut. You're not learning anything from what I'm just telling you. So I'm going to play this short clip. And then it could be that we'll start the show after that short clip if we get demonetized. But I just want you to know all this is possible thanks to patrons. There is absolutely no way that I could just show you the things that I really think are important that you need to see without the Patronus agio colonus, right? You know what I'm talking about. Thank you for being here, guys. You guys doing good? Everybody doing all right? Everybody all right? Hope everybody's doing good. Well, we're gonna maybe try some call-ins today. I don't know if it's gonna work. Don't hold my, don't, well, you can hold that. I kind of like that, but don't hold me to that. You can, I'll just move on. So I'm going to play you this clip and you're going to listen to it because I told you to. James, don't tell me what to do. You can't tell me what to do. Electronic music is an art. Electronic music is an art. Therefore, AI is not art. It's not. Okay, so we're going to switch to, sorry, this is taking a while. We're going to, these guys are already talking. We're going to put this here. I'm going to stay here and kind of talk. Wait. Oh, I don't think you guys could hear this. Okay. So here's the clip. Sorry, I'm getting my act together here.
He was not a member of any intelligence agencies. I'm quite sure of that. And he was not a hedge fund guy. In fact, once, you never want to tell humorous stories about Jeffrey Epstein, but he once said to me he wanted to sue a newspaper for defamation. And I said, why did they call you a pedophile? He said, no, they called me a hedge fund guy. He was very upset at being called a hedge fund guy. I don't know what his financial business was, but I can be relatively certain he was not an asset for the Mossad.
Can I just ask why,
This is the
Alan
first
Dershowitz,
time,
can I just
Alan,
ask
that
why
I
you're
have
so
some-
certain about this? Because it does seem to have been an intelligence gathering operation of some kind, or a compromat situation, or a blackmail situation, something like that, surely.
It's possible, but I never saw any evidence of that. He was a guy from Brooklyn, grew up in Coney Island. He was very curious. He wasn't as smart as he thought he was. He didn't know as much about science as he thought he did. But I can tell you that people like Steven Pinker and people like Stephen Gould and people like the president of Harvard thought he asked good questions during the seminars that we all attended. Those seminars, I never attended a seminar after I represented him. My relationship did terminate. I continued to take his phone calls after that. Look, I don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is. He was very, very, I didn't even want to meet him initially. Look, I want everything out. I want all the theories out there, all the documents. Let the public decide. There are people who don't want things. They have things to hide. But people like me who have nothing to hide, who are not in any way embarrassed about any of these revelations, because we know we did nothing wrong. We're the ones who want all these papers out, all these documents out, and I'm hoping the judge will now release everything, every single document.
Okay, let me just get this off. That was kind of boring, and sorry, but
no.
wait, but there's a couple of really important things that are not boring, so don't worry about that. First of all, PGB, I appreciate it. I wish you wouldn't have deleted the message. I understand maybe why you did. You felt some pressure there. First of all, good job pushing against what I just said. I'm gonna go ahead and expose what you said, PG. PG was stalking what a lot of artists are. Look, I've literally lost work because AI has put me out of a job as an artist, and that's real. Humans are being crushed underneath, and I'm going to say this as delicately as I can. I used to be a cartoonist. I didn't want to be a cartoonist. I was a cartoonist. I was in 3 weekly papers. That's not a lot, but I've been syndicated in 3 weekly papers, which quite frankly is more than most, more than 99%. Seriously, it's like more than that. It crushed me, PGB. It crushed me. How little I got paid, how shitty I was treated, how completely awful the entire job was from start to finish. Every single part of it. I was a peon. I was always placed at the end. It was absolutely awful. And it was the only way that my art could grow. It would not have been able to grow under the fame of prosperity. Prosperity would have killed the artist in me. If you want to stab me with a pencil right now, I get it. I really do. I don't think that I know your plight. Even though I was in your plight long ago, I don't think that psychologically or compassionately it's fair for me to tell you now I know what it's like. I remember what it was like then, but that's not the same as saying I know what it's like now. Back then when I was a cartoonist, I felt that all digital stuff was not art. I threw myself harder into the drawing itself. I threw myself harder into the ideas themselves, and I kept having to use technology so I could send my stuff to other people. So through email, through communication, but more importantly, when you're going to send something to a paper, even though you've drawn it, you can't send a pencil drawing. It's going to have to be inked. And when it's inked, you're actually digitizing it. And I didn't like understanding that this is what was happening. And I would use the art of pointillization, right? Putting tiny dots. I'm sure you know this. I'm not trying to teach you about art. I'm just talking about my plight. That the entire time I was digitizing my art and I just couldn't admit it. That I'd lost all the abilities to use grayscale or color because I was trying to get into an industry that only needed black and white, that would only be printed on a Heidelberg press, and that Heidelberg press was only going to have one of 4 colors, but I was not on a page that had the other 3. I was on a page that had black. Not only that, it was a weekly newspaper, so that Heidelberg press, man, it was pretty jiggy with it. There was no one checking the quality of the work. I used to drive to a town called Waynesville and sit there in the basement of a daily newspaper because they would run our weekly in between shifts. And it was literally just a rag to them. It was toilet paper. And I would sit there and I was allowed to throw away papers that weren't correct, that were printed wrong because the press shifted too much. And as an artist, in order for me to have a cover that this was not as a cartoonist, I moved on from artist to art director, where I was doing covers of this weekly magazine. I was also doing all the layout inside. I'm not trying to bore you. I'm just trying to say that over time, I noticed that if I wanted to succeed and do what I was going to do, that I was going to have to use technology. And I still kept the separation between my art and my technology. And I would do all my drawings by hand, and I would scan in the thing on my flatbed scanner. I would pull it into Photoshop. I would convert the brightness. I would use levels. I would turn it into a black and white image. I would use a dithering tool. I got better to where I didn't want the dithering tool to fuck with it, so I just started purposely drawing circles instead. It changed my art completely. I was digitized before I could admit it. And it really slowed me down, because I think if I would have leaned into it more, if I could have broken through the propaganda of this is not art, I would have thrived faster. I would have found my beat faster. The snobbery of art is important because you're smelling the pranic veneration of the turtle shell on your mantle. You've pulled something precious and you are sniffing it. It's why we call fine art. When you're at a college and you walk into the fine arts department, it feels different. The silence feels like it's on purpose. There's a reverence that is also there in a library. I know that some of you know exactly what I mean. And it's the people that know exactly what I mean that get what I'm trying to say. The facade is not art. The arrogance is not art. Coveting your paints and insisting that no one learns your technique is not art. This is people that are insisting that there can be only a few. And so therefore, since there can be only a few, I have to be the best. And this isn't art. This is victory. This is competition. And those people are going to dope, and they're going to use techniques that others do not. One of which is, what was that painting? Finnegan's Wake. That's probably not it. Someone, oh God, I hope someone can tell me what I'm talking about. But there's a a technique that was used where a guy stopped painting and he invented this optic device that basically took all the impressionism out of painting, and it led to a very surreal pre-color photographic form of painting. I hope someone's going to tell me what this is. I'm so sorry, I'm losing it, because if you check this out, it really, really hits on the crevice of what I'm talking about. It really does showcase why art is such a journey that we end up being lost and followed down. So just as we said the black and white photography was an art, just as we later admitted that it was, then color photography came out and we said, well, that doesn't count. It only counted because it was black and white. So then we gave it a pass, and then color photography became that way. Just as we're like, I must kiss the ass of Ansel Adams because it's not really that great, guys. I think that it's very breathtaking, but I think that you're actually breathtaking the pranic torque that everyone else gives Ansel Adams, and it gets stuck in the silver page. The photographs are silver. The black and white photograph is an emulsion technique that utilizes silver. This is some of the oldest reflective magic in the world. So the reflective action of that, the silver screen and the black and white, they're holding the pranic witness much longer than anything else would. About the only way you're going to find it more is in coins, and we have value in those coins. We don't even have a country that says our currency is silver, but all of us understand this is valuable. This is valuable. So is gold. So we have all these things, and we're learning to find that what we thought art is not actually art. That when you peel apart the veneration of what we call it, you're really looking at a dirty mind inside a dirty body, inside a dirty apartment, making a single sheet of cotton clean and beautiful. The parabola is the mess the poor, the poverty. All these things require the art to be secreted until you learn the vibe. I am learning the vibe. I'm learning the vibe. I don't have it yet. Doing really well. Look at the patrons. We're doing well. I could go further. I could go deeper. We could learn more. And this is how it is. I've had to let go of these things and learn to keep nimble fingers. Are we ever going to get to the show, James? I don't know. I don't even know why I said that. You know, they're probably like, man, fuck this guy. I don't want to hear that. And that's fine too. Sorry. I just showed you a 2-minute clip of one Steen talking about another Steen, Brett Weinstein, a figure in the news for some reason, discussing the parables of Jeffrey Epstein. And they're arguing with Dershowitz, this famous, another one of those guys, right? Also, and they're arguing, you just heard them argue about whether or not Epstein works for Mossad. And I played you that clip because I wanted to be able to show you how beautifully this system works, how perfectly this system works. When I go home to see my dad, love that guy, absolutely just a joy hanging out with him. And he likes primetime news. He tends to watch primetime news. And because he tends to watch primetime news, I'm not like, hey, you have to change that. I'm not like, hey, that's not art, right? I'm not like, hey, that's not entertainment. You can't do that, you know? All those things. I want to hang out with my dad. And it's easy. And I hang out with my dad even though the news is on. And I have to learn how to enjoy the news because I want to enjoy my dad. I'm not going to tell my dad. I have tried to get my dad to watch other things, but why? What's the point? I don't need that. There is something to be seen. There's more depth in the room. And these guys are showing it to you, which is why I just really wanted to show it to you too. So the video you just watched has 4 people, 4 talking heads. You only heard 2 of them, but that's okay. But 2 or 3 talking heads, but all 4 of them, if you were listening to the entire interview, can be placed into one of 4 things. And they're on the screen right now. The first one is the host, and he's asking, is Epstein Mossad? The second one, we don't actually get to hear her talk, but you can tell she's very serious, and she's really got something to say about this too. And what she has to say, if you were to listen further, was that there are possible ties between Epstein and Mossad. And then on the third head, you have a Epstein is not Mossad. It's a hardcore, this is how I feel because this is what I know. And then in the fourth head is Epstein is Mossad. And it's a hard head. It's very firm. It's like, this is what I believe. This is what I know. And all 4 of those are different nodes. They are different branches. But all 4 of those branches, it might be difficult to see or to notice that all 4 of those branches are actually part of the same cowboy. They are underneath the same node. They are underneath the same branch, the same tree. Epstein is true. Epstein is organic. Epstein is unquestionable. That root statement is being expressed subcutaneously by these 4 talking heads. Is Epstein Mossad? That means Epstein is true, organic, and unquestionable. There are possible ties between Epstein and Mossad. That means Epstein is true, organic, and unquestionable. Epstein is not Mossad definitely says Epstein is true, organic, and unquestionable. Epstein is Mossad still proves the fact that Epstein is true, organic, and unquestionable. Do you understand? Can you see? This is one singular thought being brought to you by 4 separate fingers. One hand, hidden, 4 fingers. The cowboy is not in the room. At no point are you going to see the cowboy's face. You are going to see the eyes of the crazy Australian Shepherd dog. One Australian Shepherd says, is Epstein Mossad? Another Australian Shepherd says there are possible ties between Epstein and Mossad. Another Australian Shepherd said Epstein is not Mossad. Another Australian Shepherd says Epstein is Mossad. All of them are pushing you through the idea, the corral of Epstein is true, organic, and unquestionable. You will never, ever be able to get past this. You will never be able to see the cowboy on national TV. So how do you enjoy TV with your dad? It's easy because I need you to embrace believability. I need you to embrace that we have been given a gift from these sacred friends that you and I know as Building 7. From the hallowed Mother Teresa's fingers of Waynell Sexton herself. From the golden coffin of what's his name? Sorry, I can't think of his name. To the birth certificate of Obama, through the 368 names on the Clinton kill list, that all these things have brought to you the ability to see what I just showed you. And at first, when you first see these things, you might be angry and you might go, this sucks and the world is full of lies and it all sucks. And this is good because you're learning to pick up weight. You're learning to pick up weight. First time is hard. You're just like, this shit's heavy. It's not always that way. I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy the show. And I want you to know that there are other people that have wanted you to enjoy the show too. I think those people were behind Building 7. I don't think you make mistakes at that level. I think it's too easy to get that right. It's too easy to detonate a building because everyone has to be ready. No one does that accidentally early. There's a lot of moving parts to detonating a building. A lot of moving parts to setting off thermite. Whatever it is you want to believe. It's an acoustic. Yeah, all that. Yes. All that. Takes a lot of moving parts. These are professionals. We have a fairy tale called The Emperor Wears No Clothes. It's a fairy tale. It's not a fable. It's a fairy tale. It's not a fable. It's a fairy tale. A fable teaches you a moral. A fairy tale helps you sleep at night. The Emperor's New Clothes is a fairy tale. It's not a fable. The Emperor knew. The Emperor knew he had no clothes. He knew he wore no clothes, but more importantly, he knew that his kingdom was full of cowards. He knew that his kingdom was chock full. Every single one of them, from the highest generals to the highest truth tellers, were cowards and that they would never tell him. The emperor knew he had clothes because the emperor has a monopoly on praise, and the only way you could keep a monopoly on praise is by noticing things. And by noticing things that other people would not, you would slowly find yourself emperor. An emperor found this so disgusting, he was so disappointed in his people that he started sticking his ass cheeks directly in their face and asking them if they liked his new pants. Who is smarter? Who is in control when you think about this? Because the fairy tale is that the emperor is a fool and everyone in the court is smart. This is the cowboy, and this is why it's a fairy tale, not a fable. We believe that we are smarter than them, which is why they stick Epstein in our face and ask, do you like my new pants? And we do. We love these pants. These are the best pants we've ever seen. We want more. We will place these pants on the New York Times bestseller list. We love this. Give us more, because we will drink from the fountain that the emperor doesn't know, but we do. And when you do the math, how could you be an emperor if you didn't know? Because let's take that. Well, because he was recently fooled. And if he was recently fooled, he would be torn apart. He would be torn apart by other people that want to be the emperor. So the emperors are the ones that know. They know exactly how the court works. They have zero fairy tales that they tell themselves at night. You know why? Because they don't sleep. They're at the top. They are thinking all the time. They are not just one step ahead, because the first time you have one step, you would start to invent propaganda to give you 2 steps ahead. And once you did that, you would double your efforts and turn that propaganda into 4 steps ahead. And pretty soon you would be able to control a media where you're telling people that they're getting the truth because you have 4 different heads telling you 4 different things that seem unique from each other, but in fact are all related to the same idea that Epstein is true, organic, and unquestionable. Epstein didn't publish himself. Epstein didn't publish himself. You know this. It's not easy. Eric Weinstein confirms his lack of sincerity during this very interview. You may have noticed it. Did anyone notice? Did any of you notice that during the 60-second clip that I just played, that Eric Weinstein picked up 3 separate coffee cups? And each of those coffee cups had a different signal. Did anyone else notice? I want to see in the chat. I'm not trying to, I'm just curious. Because if you step away from the reality of what you're expecting to happen, you can see these things and it gets more fun. It gets more fun. Eric Weinstein doesn't give a shit about the country. Eric Weinstein doesn't give a shit about the intelligence agencies having a breach. Eric Weinstein doesn't give a shit about the victims that Epstein raped and murdered and slaughtered. He doesn't care about the children who had their faces ripped off or the gold-dipped virgin boys that are suspended above Podesta's place. None of that matters to Weinstein. What matters to Eric Weinstein is he wants attention. He wants attention so bad that he's going to pull 3 separate coffee cups in the middle of an interview on live air because he doesn't give a shit. All clowns want attention. And the CIA is clowns because this is how it works. You're going to need to insert stories that work. You're going to need to invent things like whitemail. And you can't tell whitemail to anyone. You can't use that word. You just always call it blackmail, but it's whitemail. And so we reach the point of, oh, bother. Oh, bother. We're not even in a position where we can talk about honeypot. Like, that takes a while to even explain to someone what a honeypot is. A honeypot is used to bring someone in and focus their attention on something else while other things are happening. And all of us feel that we finally caught it. That we got Epstein. We caught it. Dershowitz says there's no intelligence leak. Brett Weinstein says there is. The answer is no, there's not. And I'm going to show you why. If Epstein was a Mossad honeypot, the story of Epstein would need to be as salacious as Pizzagate. Check. That's true. Number 2, if Epstein was a Mossad honeypot, Jeffrey wouldn't need to have any ties to any intelligence agencies at all, right? Because the entire story is simply fabricated. So there's no actual intelligence breach at all. But that's true too. Wow, we're 2 for 5 here. What's going on? If Epstein was a Mossad honeypot, we would hear about it on the major news networks, James. Like, James Patterson would have a best-selling New York Times book. If this was a honeypot, if this was all a facade, then everyone would know about it, James. Yeah, we got that too. If Epstein was a Mossad honeypot, people would love this story. It would make them feel good. It would make them feel good to know that Epstein was killed because he met justice, because he was a bad guy. And all of us would know that he met justice in sort of an underhanded way. And none of us would have to wait for that justice. None of us would have to wait for the trial. We wouldn't have to listen to the victims explain all the pain that he caused because we could just off him before trial so no one would have to make up anything. Oh my God, we've got that too. If Epstein was a Mossad honeypot, no one would break any intelligence laws thanks to Smith-Moond. Oh. What wicked bells we weave. If you combine the language of Smith-Moond with the language of DPA. I'm not going to go into DPA right now, but if you combine those two, DPA is allowed to create an industry whose sole purpose is to preserve the Union of the United States. Its Myth Moon is allowed to release propaganda on its own soil to put forth a foreign policy. So if you've given the government the ability to create an industry that helps national security, and then you've given the government the ability to release propaganda that are lies into the domestic soil to preserve the Union, then you just invented the idea that we would need Epstein. We would need stories like Epstein. And you would see that Pizzagate was the first of those stories, and that they would all lead to this place where we're at now, where we're watching professional wrestling on TV, but the professional wrestling is teamed up with NASCAR. And then they've joined the military. So you have the professional wrestling, NASCAR, military wing. And all three of them are working together in a triple threat. And you know what happens when the Trinity comes out. Oh, bother. Indeed. This is you and me. This isn't billionaires. We think that Epstein caught billionaires because it feels good, because it's a fairy tale. The truth is that Epstein caught the public. That's who it caught. But the public would not see, because the sweetness of thinking we caught a billionaire inside this pot is too good to not stick our head in and keep it there forever. I tell people this on Twitter, and I get 2 retweets. And one of them, Zoogie. And Zoogie's had my back for a while. It's a honeypot because it works. It's a honeypot because it's sweet. The truth never looks like Epstein. The truth never looks like Pizzagate. The truth never looks like Sheriff Arpino, who has proof that Barack Obama forged his birth certificate. Doesn't look like those things. But this is the appetite. You can be mad. You can say they're deceiving us, but if you look at what it takes, what you're really looking at is a pack of dogs, the American mind, and cowboys just keeping them safe. Keeping them safe. If we had all these free marauding psychics telling their stories, telling their tales, we'd have a problem here. So we invented the FDA. Look, we only want a certain amount of people selling snake oil, okay? There's just too much. We only want a certain amount of people being aware of what's happening in the government. It's too much. Bradley Manning released a manual from Gitmo that was not classified, but every single news outlet said he risked his life exposing the truth of what was happening in Gitmo. He didn't risk his life. He didn't even risk being legally detained. It's a non-classified manual. You could go to the bookstore on base and probably buy that manual, and you get a discount. You get a discount because you have military ID, and Bradley Manning has a military ID. He wasn't convicted, but James, he was in solitary confinement. You don't actually know that. What you know is that he was on the cover of CoverGirl magazine 6 weeks later. You know that, right? You didn't know that, right? And so you're like, well, wait a minute. So the same guy that releases the first person ever to release the top secret kill torture manual from Gitmo happens to also be a transgender, and he happens to win a spot on CoverGirl. And I'm like, yeah, happens. That's a great word. It just happens. It just happens. Just happens is French for take your fucking head out of the honeypot. That's what just happens means. That's what it means. Look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. The Tao of poo is that poo is you. And no one wants to bother with that. Who wants to bother with that? Why bother? Why bother, right? And it's okay, guys. It's okay. This is progress. Building 7 was a gift. Building 7 was them looking at you, pointing their fingers, saying, I see you, little bear. It's time to wake up now. What was Building 7 but a bell? I heard it. You heard it too. You're watching me because you did. I'm making a show because you did too. The CIA is not a single-minded industry. The CIA is you. Oh, James, don't stop saying that. The CIA is you, James. James, it's the Masons. It's the Freemasons. You do know that there is a G inside the compass and the square. Masonic logo. You got your compass, and then you got your square down below. And then you got the letter G. And in Hermetics, the first Hebrew letters, there were no vowels. So if you take the word Gaia and you remove all the vowels, you're left with G. And if you're left with G and you're thinking, well, Gaia is Masonic, then you're like, well, that'd be silly. There's nothing binary about Masonic stuff. And you're like, yeah, the compass and the square, that's not binary. That's not two ways of looking at a singular thing and finding the truth. That's not creating a left brain and a right brain, calling one Huitzilopochtli, calling the other Thalak, asking these two gods inside your mind to sacrifice ideas at the altar, to rip the hearts out of the ideas so you can inspect them, so you could see them beating in your hand and make a decision because you're God. Damn, I don't want to do that. James, I don't have to be God because Epstein has a billionaire apple penis. There's a freaking submarine. And it's so absurd because I'm telling you guys, if you're a billionaire, you do not have a problem getting laid. You do not have a problem getting anything you want. Guys, I could tell you some stories of some people that have come to this house and done things simply because I'm on YouTube. I'm a small potato guy. I've seen deeply disturbing displays of, I will do anything to be in your presence, James Drew, simply because you're on YouTube. If I had less self-worth, if I had less self-control, I probably would have a kid right now. And that kid would be living in another state, in another guy's home. You guys do not understand how powerful witness is. It is such a fucking powerful glow. It makes people behave horribly. It makes me behave horribly too. I think I hate to do this because this means I'm probably worse than I know. But when I compare myself to the other people that I mention a lot, I am fucking doing great. I mean, it is fucking amazing how well I'm able to hold my shit together in all this. Billionaires do not have a problem finding pussy. I'm sorry, they just don't. They don't. And we love the idea that they would need a really greasy sicko pimp to find them. And we love the idea that it would be so rare that they would have to blackmail themselves just to get it. Because there's no way that you could just open your door and drive down the street and have someone come in and put a collar on their fucking neck, take off all their clothes, sit on the very desk that you live stream from, simply because you're on fucking TV, simply because you're on YouTube. Guys, this is just how witness works. It has nothing to do with you if you're the one that holds the witness. See, you're not even in the fucking room. You're looking at gnats chasing the light of the street lamp, and if it's fire, they're more than welcome to burn. More than happy to burn. This is why Hollywood is made of Hollywood, a wood that burns when it's green, that burns when it's virgin, that is made to renew. You want Hollywood to burn. It's the only way you could get attention. This is why Weinstein has to drink from 3 cups. He's pretending that not only is this true, but innocent women were raped, were tortured for years, were trafficked and traded on the open market, and he's going to sip 3 cups because that's how much he cares about these things. That's how real he fucking thinks it is. It's harder for us to see, which is why Emperor wears no clothes. Guys, level up on that fable, on that fairy tale. Turn the fairy tale into a fable, right? Let's turn the fairy tale into a fable. The emperor knows. The emperor's mocking you. He's not mocking you because he's satanic. He's mocking you because he's embarrassed. You are on his soil. He feels responsible as the apex predator, and he doesn't like being surrounded by retards. He wants the smartest, most beautiful zebras he can find. He's not afraid of you figuring it out. He wants you to figure it out so you'll stop licking each other's butthole. He wants you to grow precisely because he's the emperor, because he has no fear. He is the monopoly. He is the sun. And when you are living on a tree and you recognize the monopoly, as a leaf, you recognize the monopoly of the root, you worship that sun, and you have zero problems with the proletariat. You have zero problems with the dominant paradigm. You have no desire to subvert anything except for more fairy tales, which makes you feel better about the position that you're in as something that's underneath the tree of a monopoly. Billionaires are not chosen. I know it seems that way. I know it's so sexy to think about. But they're forged every second of the day. They're forged in decision and in posture. They're showing you. They're winking Building 7 because they want you to grow. If a billionaire, if a CIA op who is focused on Building 7 was to watch my content or read my book, he would say, okay, I'm making some progress. Because that dude was a fucking retard that was like, there's no such thing as a hard to fear programmer. And I believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. This is me. And the Bill of Rights. And I'm going to go to William and Mary. I'm going to be a lawyer because I want to protect people because I believe in government. I believe in justice. And I know that deep down, no matter what, all of us would fight for nothing else but the Bill of Rights. And none of that's true. None of that. Literally none of that is true. I've been around soldiers. I've been around sailors. I've been around firemen. I've been in war. I've watched how people behave. It is fucking awful. Not one of them is selfless. Every one of them is selfish. All of them are doing it for thank you for your service. All of them are doing it for a pension. All of them are doing it because they have violent tendencies inside. None of them are trying to preserve shit. None of them are asking questions. Not a single one. The dude who was put in charge of Afghanistan, of taking out bin Laden, killing the Taliban, killing Al-Qaeda, failed in all three of them, by the way, told you, I've shown you the video, I don't have queued it up right now, but he told you, I do not trust anyone. I knew that the CIA, despite the fact that they hired me, despite the fact that I was hired to do this job, I knew that I could not trust them. And you know that the Black Ops works because you have to make sure no one has trust. You can murder anyone as long as you throw 4 different fingers into the country, you tell them 4 different stories, and you tell each of them you cannot trust another. No one under this agency can be trusted. You've created a trauma machine, a zombie that's running around going, I just want to serve my country. I just want to help it. And none of that's true. Because if you wanted to serve your country, you'd say, I'm not going. You'd say, fuck you, bitch. This sounds really, really suspect. Why did we meet with why did our American media meet with Osama bin Laden 7 fucking times? And all 7 of those times, he's on the top 10 terrorist wanting list. Why the fuck would we not simply get a job at CNN, have someone write a recommendation? Now we're the assistant cameraman. Now we're the dude that's walking around with the fucking camera. Now we know exactly where he is. If we're saying that doesn't happen because we have some secret respect for the separation of church and state, of the media and the state, why the fuck is the media sucking so much military dick every single fucking day? How can you suck dick and also pretend that you would never suck the military's dick? The answer is you would not. The answer is you're working in cahoots. The answer is these guys are not winking at you. They built the largest, most biggest format of an eyeball with an eyelash they can and place it on the side of the busiest highway that you've ever seen, and it is constantly blinking and winking at you, and you will not see it because the idea that the emperor wears no clothes is too sexy for you to get past. The idea that the people in charge must be evil because that's the only way they can be in charge is the exact same energy. You are destroying yourself by smearing the shit of poverty all over your face and telling me that you're holy because of it. You're not holy. You're a fucking coward. You're afraid because you know how we treat people when they get too tall. There is nothing wrong with monomorphic life. I bitch about it all the time because this is where we are. You're going to need monomorphic life to survive. You're going to need monomorphic life to create the sanctity to make certain decisions that are hard. You're going to need fascism. You're going to need objectivity. You're going to need majoritarianism sometimes. You're going to want to unite in a singular quickening to get the job done. You are also going to need to be pleomorphic. You are also going to need to embrace the idea that not everyone is going to be your image of a man and your image of a woman. You're going to need to embrace the psychology of genderism. Genderism has nothing to do with sex. You're just confused because Crisco is covering your fucking eyes. You think that one side had to be right, the other side had to be wrong, and so you're retarded too. Retarded means lack of growth. Retarded means fear of the sun. Genderism is required if you're going to raise up above this. You're going to have to stop calling things gay just because you don't want to say it's stupid, because you don't want to show how idiotic you are. You're going to need subjectivity. You're going to need to take all the mantras of everyone who told you that relativity is Satan and anyone who's relative is Satan. And you need to understand that that is majoritarianism in revolt. That majoritarianism has created a clergy. And anyone who tries to step outside of that is licking the ass taint of Satan because subjectivity is, or relativity is Satanism. And relativity is not the right word because relativity is the opposite of objectivity. Relativity implies objectivity exists, and that's not what you need. That's the wrong answer. You need subjectivity. You need that you are the center of the world. You need that when you were born, this universe was created. 9 months before you were born, the universe was created. And 3 months after you died, the universe was destroyed. And you're not allowed to think that because that's arrogant. And arrogant is how you grow. Arrogant is how you build your own cosmos. Arrogant is how you see through the lies. And frankly, you're sitting with your dad watching the news and you're starving for consciousness. So you see a guy hold 3 separate coffee cups up and you feel better. You see Building 7 go down 7 minutes before it was announced and you feel better. You see an inflated plane and a cutscene no one else catches and you feel better. You feel better because there are people who are operating inside of what I will call the great work who feel better if you do. They feel better. They're not doing it for you. They're not doing it because, oh, they're so magnanimous and you're great. No, they're doing it because they don't want to become schizophrenic. They don't want to go crazy. You're going to need to move between fascism and pantheism, objectivity and subjectivity, majoritarianism and genderism, because you are a monomorphic, pleomorphic being. You're going to build triangles every day. The triangle is a pleomorphic creating a shield to protect himself. The shield is a vision or a fantasy that they have about how the world works. The emperor wears no clothes is a triangle. There's nothing wrong with lying to yourself. There's nothing wrong with shaming those who are lying to themselves too. Let me say there is something wrong. Consider that, right? If you can accept that you are lying to yourself with triangles, then you are not going to be able to be as hard on someone else for doing the same thing too. It's not a problem. You recognize yourself in that. All of these things are immunities. All of these things are fields that you're seeing in each other, and we're finally able to see the truth. The truth is, this guy's full of shit. This guy doesn't want you to hear a damn thing. He doesn't want you to consider any side. He wants attention. He wants attention so bad that he'll do whatever it takes to get it. And you know who wins? Eric Weinstein. He hasn't contributed anything wise to any of this debate ever, not once. But they bring him in. They bring him in because he understands. He understands that Epstein is true, organic, and unquestionable. You can enjoy TV. You can watch these things and go, oh my God, look at that. That is adorable. You can spot the signals, and you will never see the cowboy. The cowboy is invisible. You will always see the dog. You will only see the dog. Even if you're doing it right, if you do see a cowboy, you're looking at a cheap operation. You're looking at Sloppy Steve. Steve's a cowboy. He understood what it takes to get in the White House, and it works. Genderism question, so I guess where you put your pants is relative to societal structure. Yeah, genderism is, I'm going to be straight with you. I think most of my listeners are just not ready for that talk. They're just not. There's a lot of stability and tradition that comes in the role of traditional male. Someone was posting on Substack today about the importance of being a stoic male and being a rock and not having any emotion. And yeah, that's exactly that's how we picture male. And it's fine. I'm not in charge of the fashion of what we decide gender is. When I have genderism on there as a pleomorph, it's because, in my opinion, a male and a female are modes of operation that are very effective when you want to have children. And so if you are in a society where your chief export is just more kids, you're going to have a normalcy of gender where everyone fits into that same thing. If you were to have a society of artists, gender would be harder, not because people are gay. It'd be harder because not everyone is necessarily wanting to express the art of having children. So you end up with a different gender called plumber, called artist, called acrobat, called baker. And we've had that a long time, where people are not necessarily born right away to have kids or to go into the world, so they develop another gender, and that gender is where they find passion. They identify with who they are. And by identifying with who they are, they meet someone, and then those people have kids. And yeah, biologically, if you have a Y chromosome that's got a little stub, and you've got an X chromosome that doesn't, then you're going to be able to make kids. I didn't change that. No one changed that. You're watching people like Weinstein tell you that they changed that. You're watching the extremities that make it on the show, telling you this is what genderism is about, and it isn't about that. It's not about that at all. We've had this mode for a long time. I don't want to be a soldier, said people during the draft. That's genderism. I'm a peace observer. That's genderism. I'm expected to be a male who would enlist in the war and go fight for a stupid war I don't believe in. This is the rise of genderism. Yeah. Yeah, I know. We're supposed to hate it. We're supposed to blame it on one party. And fine, keep hating it. Keep blaming it on one party. I'm fine with it. You know why? Because I can see who the cowboys are. I can see it. I can watch people freak out. I can watch people buy Epstein. I know everything about you. If you tell me Epstein is true, organic, and factual, I know everything about you. And it's not even judgment away. I know where you're at. What's wrong with knowing where you're at? Makes people nervous, doesn't it? Yeah, but what's wrong with knowing where you're at? If you live in a society that hates ego, there's a lot wrong with that. If you live in a society that expects everyone to watch the same television and not suffocate, there's something wrong with that. You are living in a society where the same television shows are playing. But the truth is that media is dying, and they've had to recreate new parables. So they created Pizzagate. And Pizzagate didn't hit the main news because the old dinosaur wasn't ready for that. The old dinosaur was like, no, that's too sharp for me. And Steve Bannon goes, I bet you it will be good. And then he created a few movies about the Clintons. And then Breitbart opened up. Breitbart took off, man. They took off. The founder of Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart, met with Bibi when they were starting the paper. Benjamin Netanyahu and Breitbart, friends, started Breitbart. Why are you mad at BB? Like, seriously, why are you not mad at us? Why are you mad at Breitbart? Why are you mad at Bannon? These guys are winking too. The great work doesn't require you to be conscious of it. The people that are showing you, they don't need to be conscious of it. There's nothing to do with it. You're missing the point. You're in that majoritarian thinking where you have to have a conscious idea, because if you think that the idea has to be conscious first, really what you're saying is that you have to have approval from everyone else. You need a majority to say it's okay to think this way. That's what you need. You need that. So, yeah. Yeah, devil is a unicorn. That's all I got. I was gonna do questions. I don't know if I should. There's a lot to play around with, and I don't know what I should do. I don't know what I should do. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. Yeah, you can see this too. You guys can enjoy it too. And frankly, don't join me on the gender thing. If you're not ready to burn your bras, don't do it. If you're not ready to throw your jock strap on the telephone wire, don't do it. I don't need you to understand right now. I don't. And if you want to, secretly maybe he's gay or he's this or what, that's fine too. It's seriously, it's okay. I see you. It's okay. It's okay for me to see you. This is why I intimidate a lot of people. I see them. It's kind of how I pollinate, Witness is its own pollinator. So, why is your beard not blue yet? There's a good question. Yeah, I'm working on it. It's getting there, isn't it? Yeah, beard's grown. A lot of things been happening. Oh my God, I keep forgetting this. Guys, I'm not forgetting it, but I keep forgetting to mention on the show. Get your 369 tickets. You want to come say hi? Come say hi. I'll be in Portland on 369 Day. That's March 6th and 7th. We're doing a little roller skating on the 6th, and then the 7th we got a great space, Harshay, old school salon. We'll be discussing some of these wonderful things. Some of you are like, yeah, I don't want to come unless I'm doing a presentation, so I'll do a presentation for some of you guys. That'll be 6 o'clock. Let's just say that. I don't know what time. Let's just say 6. I'll change it probably, but let's say 6. It'll be on the website as soon as we're ready. We're putting that out, but you can get tickets right now. We got some people coming. Should be fun. Should be a great time. So if you want to come to that, you can come to that and get tickets. Not really looking to make that a big event, honestly. I don't want to bring some of the people that came like last time. So it's kind of good that I'm not mentioning it. But if you want to come and like really have an intimate, like, let's talk some cool stuff, man, you should come to that. It'll be a good time. So I recommend that. What I am going to do is, Lisa's saying take a call. What I'm going to do though is, I think what I'll do is stop the stream, start it again in members only. If any of you guys are patrons, but you're not YouTube members, you can just go to the Zoom and let's do a practice. Let's do a walkthrough. Okay. Let's do that. So you guys can go to the Zoom. If you're patrons, you don't have to be, YouTube members. Some of you are not patrons, but you're YouTube members. So we'll do a practice. I'm going to shut the stream off, then I'm going to start the stream again, but it'll be members only. And we'll just take a few little minutes. And then if anyone shows up in Zoom, seriously, I'm gonna be there like 5 minutes. If no one shows up, that's, we won't do it. And it's good practice for it. So we're going to try that. Wait a minute. That means I won't be able to end the show. No, I can end the show. The ending of the show is actually your call to come and check stuff out. Alexander's going. You should go. You guys should go. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Seriously. It's in Portland. What is 369 Day? It is every 9 years. There is numerologically, there is the day 369. And this is the magic of Tesla, magic of a lot of cool stuff. So you could check it out. All right, we're going to play the outro and see, there's Zoogie. Good to see you, buddy. We'll see you guys next time. And if you want to come say something, you'll still be able to join Patreon in time. So, yeah, we'll see you next time with James Drew Live.